Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. So Kenya denies telling Porsha that Drew sent her the information. Kenya also alludes to two new housewives joining the show. I want to talk about that a little bit. I also want to talk about Kenya being sued for unpaid rent and her countersuing the landlord. Before we get into it, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I do commentary on reality TV shows, so please, and celebrity news as well. Okay, now let's get into it. So Kenya Moore, if you guys remember a while back, Kenya did a live video where she talked about, pardon me, may not have been a live. It was a video on her YouTube where she was addressing her salon and how there had been so many rumors about her salon, right? Because, word on the street is people saying things like, oh, it looks abandoned, ain't nobody coming into the salon. There have been a lot of rumors like that. So she basically then says that she feels like the trolls are trying to ruin her business, and sometimes they be leaving her some bad reviews on Google, right? Now, I personally do not support anybody leaving bad reviews unless that was your experience. I don't really get it when people do that. I just think like, girl, please get a life if you're out here leaving people 1 star when it's not true. However, if it's true, then you're well within your rights to leave whatever reviews you think is appropriate for the business, as long as you're not lying on anybody. Now, she talked a little bit on that YouTube about how her landlord has not given her back the tenant improvement allowance of over $79,000 to improve the place, and that she had built a whole second floor. Now, if you guys remember when she said that, I covered that and I was saying that I feel like there's definitely something coming out in the pipelines very soon. Because usually when somebody goes out to start saying stuff like that, that's because they probably know there would eventually be some sort of legal action taken against them. There's some sort of lawsuit coming out or coming down the road. Now, so there has been a lawsuit where Kenya Moore is literally, they're trying to evict her for 6 months of unpaid rent.
The ghetto.
So apparently she hasn't paid rent since December last year until April this year. So average totals about $21,000 on an average. And apparently the lawsuit also talks about Kenya has refused to leave the space despite repeated demands from the landlord, right? So just fast forward, now Kenya is filing her own lawsuit and alleging sort of breach of contracts and legal fees. She is trying to demand over $89,000. Here's what I think. I personally feel like, I don't know what was in their contract, but whatever the case may be, I feel like I hope it gets resolved soon. And I really don't know whether Kenya is going to be able to keep this business. And I wonder if she needs to consider a different strategy with the business, because according to word on the streets, now let's be clear, I know she has money, but people say that there aren't people going there. And then there was recent complaints that people had where it was almost like she was trying to get models so she can work on, but there was something about not wanting 4C type hair. And I just don't think those things are good for business. People want, especially Black women, especially when you have a following of Black women who support you. Black women, lots of Black women have 4C hair, thick hair. So, people don't want to feel like their hair is not being taken care of, or you don't know how to do their hair, or it's not being prioritized, or they're being segregated in some way. So I really think that she needs to rethink our whole business model. What exactly does she want out of it? And I think after deciding what she wants out of it, who are our target audience? Once she decides that, I feel like she needs to do a revamp, because whatever it is that she's doing right now is not working, which is why she's always trying to do other things like, selling her reunion dresses or all that kind of stuff in under the same umbrella. I think she just needs to really sit down and map out exactly what she wants to do next. Now, let's move on to her calling out Porsha. She is saying that Porsha is lying.
Oh, see, there you go. There you go. The lies. There you go. This bitch. I'm telling you.
The lies. That is literally what it is given. Okay. So you guys know about the whole images with Britt. Like, unless you're living under a rock or you don't watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm sure you guys know this whole thing. Porsha had said in her YouTube a while back that Kenya said that a current housewife gave her that information. Now, she did not mention Drew's name at the time, but at the reunion, she does say that it was Drew. Interestingly enough, here's what Kenya says. And I'm just like, I feel like Kenya is telling on herself a little bit. And I know you guys like to think I support Porsha, but it's not about that. I call out what I see. Right? I take a step back, I reflect, I think about holistically different people's actions, right? And I'll tell you exactly why I feel the way I feel. Here's the thing. Kenya says that Porsha called her. They were talking on the phone. They were arguing for like 25 minutes because Porsha said, she said to her that Drew was the one that gave her that information. Let's put this in perspective. Why would you call someone and argue with them if you are lying on them? To be like, girl, you told me this. That is somebody that really, truly believes that you told them this. The big thing I always say is then think about it. Who has the most to gain or lose if this is actually the truth? Kenya, Drew. Because if it's the truth, then it shows that it was premeditated. Drew was involved. And then it shows that there was a plan. And Drew could also lose her spot on the show. Right? Let's be clear. Drew and Kenya are cool. Right? You don't want to put or throw your friend under the bus. And I know people are like, oh, Kenya is not lying. Kenya is not going to lie on Porsha. I don't believe that. Kenya is vindictive. Kenya could have literally said it was Drew because she knew that Porsha was going to run it back and then try to use it against her. We have seen how vindictive Kenya is and how calculating she is. And let's be clear, Porsha said that she knew about it. Now, I don't know. She knew that Kenya had gotten some information. I don't know if she knew whether there were pictures or whatever, but she knew that Kenya had gotten some information. So she was aware of it. They were cool at the time. Why would she want to lie on Kenya, especially when they were cool at the time? I don't believe Kenya. I feel like Kenya is trying to save face and play on semantics by trying to make it seem that Porsha was lying on this. The other reason I don't believe Porsha is lying on this one. Now, you guys can call her liar all you want, but let's try to be impartial for a second. Let's try to really reflect. During the reunion, did you see how Drew was handing it to people? Clucking people left, right, center. When it came to the point where Porsha said that Drew did it, what was Drew's reaction? If you guys don't remember, I need you to go back and watch her reaction. She reacted like somebody who was guilty. She did not try to insist. I never did that. I never said that. She deflected, which we know Drew does when she is lying. The same way she went on Carlos King and deflected about the whole Ty and her. The same way she deflects about the whole Ty and her, even at the reunion. It is obvious when Drew is lying. She will not outrightly say, oh no, that's a lie. She dances around it, which is what she did at the reunion. So my thing is, you don't have to like Porsha. You don't have to like Kenya. You don't have to like Drew. But try to take a step back and look at the evidence. What is the evidence showing? The evidence is showing, one, Kenya is vindictive. The evidence is showing Kenya is calculating. Yes, you got the information from a PI. Of course, you got the photos from a PI, according to you. But who told you? Did anyone give you any direction? Oh, I think she did webcam back in the day. Allegedly. Did anyone ever say that to you? Who said that to you? Right? It's like you're dancing around it. And Drew could have literally said, I never said that. I did not know anything about her past. I did not know nothing about it. If you also think when Drew had a sit down with Britt, think about it. Did you ever sell cats? Now that we're thinking back on it, do you remember the smirk on Drew's face? Do you remember how Drew looked at the reunion when she was accused of that? If you were innocent, you would outrightly say no. And this is not, like, Drew is not a lawyer. If Drew was a lawyer, I would say, okay, sometimes with lawyers, they're like, what can you prove? Drew isn't a lawyer. And we've also noticed a pattern when she lies about stuff. She deflects. She doesn't answer the question. She dances around it, which is what she did on the show. So you guys may think I'm riding for Porsha, but it ain't even that. It's just I'm looking at what the facts are saying. And the facts are saying that somebody is lying. And I think in this case, Kenya is lying. I don't doubt that, yes, she got a PI or somebody to help her dig out the information. But I think somebody, this is my opinion, gave her some information as to where to look. Because my thing is, why would I pick up the phone to call somebody and say, you said this to me? Why would I do that? Unless I'm completely bizarre, completely crazy and delusional. That I would call somebody and be like, you told me that. Of course not. I think she knew that Porsha would repeat it because Porsha has a pattern. Porsha may not say it at first, but Porsha go and let it out eventually. Okay? So I think she played into that, knew exactly what she was doing. But of course, she doesn't want Drew to not be on the show, so she's going to ride for her friend. Now, moving on to just quickly what she says about, she said 2 new people are joining. It could be, well, she didn't mention names, but she kind of alluded to K. Michelle because she said love and hip hop. And then when somebody guessed, she's like, oh, that's a good guess. You could have said, girl, no. But instead, you said that's a good guess, which gives the impression that that is who is joining. So shout out to K. Michelle. I think she would be good for the show. I'm not sure. I hope she doesn't take it all the way to hell. I hope she can come and just be classy and we can have nice, classy reads. So yeah, I just hope it doesn't get any violent, all that kind of stuff. And I hope K. Michelle and Porsha can be cool. Because I think they both have the propensity to get a little bit handsy, okay? So I don't want no fights, no physical altercations. Now, she does talk about whether Shamia is coming back. She said she's heard both sides. She's heard yes and she's heard no. Honestly, I don't know what will turn out, but I really do hope that if she chooses to come, she gets rid of that Porsha versus Shamia storyline. We don't want to hear it. It's annoying. It's tired. Miss us with that. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to see you be aggressive towards Porsha next season. We don't want to see all of that. We want to see you stand in your truth and be the classy girl you said your mama raised you to be, right? Your mama said she raised you to be, okay? So if you can do that, then maybe. But I don't really see what she will bring next season, especially because of that apology, that fake-ass apology that she did. Yeah, the whole thing was just absolutely bizarre to me. So I do not want to see more of that, if I'm being completely honest. But I will be open to watching, seeing what happens. If she comes correct, you guys know I'll give her good commentary. If she doesn't come correct, I'm going to call it out. That's just what I do over here on this channel. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that like button, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I definitely feel like I probably should do a live video of us talking about that apology, because I just think like there's so much to talk about with that apology. But I'll see if I can like schedule one today, but make sure you turn on all your notifications so that if I do go live unexpectedly, you get a notification. On that note, my lovelies, take care and have a wonderful Friday. I will speak to you later. Thank you. Bye.